Wham. Now we got our microphone working. I sincerely apologize. What's happening, ladies and gentlemen? The one and only James Williams Dog Waters. I'm back. Yesterday, I ain't gonna lie, I had a meltdown listening to this clown right here talk about human beings like he is a lizard person. And the conversation swung, the dude started talking and it swung straight into children. And now, mind you, it's clips, but honestly, his conversation started off, the section that you heard was him first start talking, first start addressing the audience. Within the first 28 words, he swung to talking about children. Then he swung deeper, talking about children and parents, of children and their mothers, and how the mothers couldn't tell the difference between the cries of the children. Then he swung again and went back to talking more about children. And frankly, I lost it. I ain't gonna lie to you. I lost it because I'm like, who in the hell and what in the hell are you? And then I was looking at that stupid smile. The stupidest, fakest smile and the fake hand motions and I was struggling with it, ladies and gentlemen. I really was. But we're gonna get back to it. And this time I won't be spazzing out. So, recap where we are from the last video. Let's pick up at the point where we talk about oxytocin, which was the trust molecule, is what the young lady from DARPA called it, how they had extracted it and figured out, and they did studies on it. Since then, people in the comment system have talked to me, and in the comments have pointed out that it can be sprayed by an aerosol spray. There's other people who said that they can use vibrations and frequencies to release it. I haven't checked that, but for those of you who made those comments, I will go back and look at it to see if there's any research that actually, supports what you're saying. I do know there's a version of it that they give to women when they're pregnant, which helps with their labor, bringing them into labor. So that's injected via a syringe. So it makes sense that they would be able to aerosol that same thing. Nonetheless, I was thinking, I'm going to do it for the next video. I really think, and this is just me thinking, I could be wrong. For some reason, I remember doing the rollout of the, let's pick a word. What's the word they use for the coof? I remember there being these talking points where it was like, trust the signs, trust the signs, trust the signs, trust the signs, trust the signs. And I forgot whose channel I was watching it on. It was one of the genius content creators, but they put together this compilation of the people in the media saying trust, 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 trust. And I'm sitting there thinking, the behavior patterns back then didn't make sense. I remember the behavior patterns of people back then not making sense. Like, remember how families were divided? Where people were like, oh, you can't come to dinner unless you do this. Oh, well, I'm not going by your house unless you wear that. And I'm thinking to myself, self? Yes. Self. Maybe they sprayed this stuff during that time period. Possibly they did. And then I said, self, what? What would they need in order to make people trust them? They would need the media to be telling them to trust and obey. And so we're going to jump down that rabbit hole. I want y'all to know. And I'll explore any rabbit hole in this manner that you want us to go down. But it's just when you start putting the pieces to the puzzle together, it makes perfect sense. Think about the narratives that were going on back then, how the media itself, which is the fifth estate, how the media itself was trust this, trust, 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 trusted signs, trust this, trust that, trust this, trust that. Every word was trust. And I'm going to prove it. I'm not just going to say it. I'm going to go find a video and prove it because people are like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Oh. But when you think about what was going on, I for the longest, I couldn't figure out. I thought it was fear. And it was fear that was being used. It was fear because people are afraid. But when you think about it, when you're afraid, you don't push family away. When you're afraid, you come together to work together. So there had to be another factor in play. There had to be something else in play at that point in time. I think we might have found it. I'm not sure, though. I'm not sure. People will say you're a conspiracy theorist. Matter of fact, I was reading one of the comments, and I do read all my comments, except for the ones that just abrasively just, oh, you're stupid and you're dumb. You just get banned, right? And one of the guys was saying, hey, man, you're a conspiracy theorist. And I was thinking, I wish I could talk to that person. Because I would say, when we start talking about conspiracy theory, I don't think you really find those here on YouTube. I think you find those in the mainstream media. For example, the borders of the United States are secure. That's a damn conspiracy theory because it ain't secure. But nonetheless, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole because I don't feel like fighting with Mama YouTube and Mama YouTube getting upset and being like, we ain't going to ban you because you talking about these things. We got to be smart. Let's get back to the video.
Bits of knowledge about emotions, particularly things like happiness and anger and fear and sadness. And people claim that they could see these in newborn and very young infant facial expressions. But of course, when we went back and reread all of these classic papers and really looked at the details of the methods and...
Okay, take a deep breath. Because this is the point where they start talking about their research was they went back and read research papers about children, but you wasn't around nowhere near no parents and the children. Then you went into when we apply that. Just listen to what the dude say, because it's like everybody's stupid.
Reanalyze the data in terms of how specific and how sensitive these kinds of facial movements were. What we found, in fact, is that infants do not have these kinds of categories. What infants appear to enter the world with is a sort of very general distress system. So babies are very good at letting people know and responding to whether everything's cool.
See, this is where I lost it, because I'm gonna tell y'all how my brain interpreted this, and I'm crazy, maybe. My brain jumped down a rabbit hole. Infants have a distress system, right? And so the infant is like a button, like just they're not human. They're just an alarm. They got a distress signal. So before you eat them, you know, if you hear them crying, don't worry. That's just their distress system. It's kind of like, I don't know, putting them in the category of a freaking baby bird that's just chirping. You know what I'm saying? It throws me off, man. I could be wrong, but it just
everything's very copacetic.
I take that back. I'm not wrong. It throws me
and calm, or things are not okay. But beyond that, things are not okay. There's really little specificity there. What's fascinating is that often parents will say, I know my baby's cry. That's her tired cry. That's her hungry cry. But in fact, when you take recordings of babies in these different contexts crying, and then later, without any context, play them to parents, they're at chance. And so what seems to happen, what's great about having a general distress cry is it's general, it's easy, caregivers know, they might know what the problem is, but that cry brings an adult caregiver to an infant, and then the adult caregiver can hypothesize test. Does this diaper need to be changed? When's the last time you ate? Brain. But in fact, some of the studies that we've done and other people have done have shown that in fact, human infants are incredibly powerful learners. And we've done some experiments showing that even within a few moments of exposure, very young children can start to change how they categorize the inferences they make about how somebody feels just based upon the perceptual information that they're seeing. And so it looks like we actually don't need to be born with this knowledge. Human brains are actually able to figure out patterns and make inferences about what might be going on at a very, very sophisticated computational level with actually very...
No crap, Sherlock. See what I'm saying, man? It's like, who spent money to figure this out? Common sense. This is what I was telling y'all. You got all the book smarts of the world, but you don't have no damn common sense. You can surmise these things being around any child, that they have the ability, they learn extremely quickly. It's why in schools right now, people are teaching children things that they probably shouldn't be teaching them because they have the ability to absorb it. They are a blank canvas. It's just like, that's what I'm saying, man. This is how you know these is lizard people. Keep all this
Little experience. So I'll turn it over to Alish to talk about adults.
Thanks, Seth. So I'm going to talk about the implications of all of this in technology.
See, he don't strike me as a lizard. He just strike me as a big brain. He don't strike me as a lizard. Why? Let's see what he says.
And the main reason is because there have been so many claims out there that algorithms, computers can now detect whether you're happy, sad, angry, etc., fearful in a specific situations by just taking a picture of your face. And as Lisa and Seth just stated, that is based on a flawed
Seth sound like a lizard name.
hypothesis, which is a hypothesis that we always
Seth. That sounds like a damn lizard name. Seth.
When we're happy, and we also scowl when we're angry. And in fact, we smile under a variety of conditions, and we scowl in a variety of conditions. So there's no way that technology will ever be able to detect the emotions that you're experiencing following that approach. What technology can do is it can detect your facial muscle movements, what we call now facial configurations. And these facial configurations are very important to communicate non-verbally between humans. So we're not here to say that facial configurations are not important, but that they're part of a very complex, poorly understood system to communicate between humans non-verbally.
Maybe he is a lizard. Maybe he is a lizard. Man, I mean, and I know it seems like I'm harping on something that's really simple, but I just don't know anybody who refers to other people as humans. I don't know of a human that refers to other people as humans. I don't know anybody who does that. Maybe you do. Other humans, how people non-verbally communicate with other people, how individuals. It's just, and I know he's probably saying humans from a species standpoint, but I mean, but given what we've been talking about thus far, and this rabbit hole we done went down, they seem more and more lizardy to me. That's all I'm saying.
My group, for example, had a paper a couple of years ago in PNAS where we showed that when you internally experience an emotion, you release peptides. Most famous peptides are hormones like testosterone, cortisol, and so on, and that this actually changes the blood flow, blood composition, and because the face is innervated with this huge number of blood vessels, your face pulsates in color for period of time, you can actually detect those hormonal changes. For example, I had in a paper a face of a guy completely red, screaming, mouth wide open, eyes almost closed, and you showed this image to people, and based on this facial configuration, people would say this person is extremely angry, right? This is a very negative emotion. But when you showed it in context, that was a soccer player celebrating a goal with the arms stretch, which made a lot of sense, and then that's a very positive emotion, right? So you're going from very negative to very positive. So it's not only the category itself, it's even the valence of that emotion that changes. So
okay, I get what Lizard Man's saying. And I'm still not sure if he's a lizard. He don't really strike me as a lizard, but he may be a lizard. I get what he's saying. So what he's saying is, contextually, looking at a person's face with a camera, you cannot determine anything other than the muscle movements of the face. But what he's saying is, outside of the context of the environment of everything that's going on, that can be deceiving. So therefore, the cameras will not work because you have to have complete context as to what's going on. So a soccer player, if you take a picture of a soccer player celebrating a goal and he's screaming, he looks like he's angry. But when you expand it out to everybody seeing it, in the stadium with him jumping across the screen like this, he's actually having a moment of celebration. Therefore, the technology, outside of having a complete context, will never be able to read our faces and determine what's what. But they're still trying to do it. So basically saying that the technology is flawed and that they're going to arrest people that they shouldn't be arresting, and it's not going to work unless they can get everything else in context with that image of that person's face. I got you, lizard man.
If a computer vision system or a machine learning algorithm is ever to understand human emotions, it does not only need to extract facial configurations from the image, which they can already do. It needs to understand the facial color, it needs to understand the body pose, it needs to understand the contextual information, it needs to understand, as Lisa has said many times, the situation that person is situated in, the culture of that person, depending on the culture. Things get modulated in different ways. So until that day, computers will not be able to read your emotions. And even before that, we still need in the cognitive sciences to run a lot of experiments to actually understand better, much better understand how emotions are produced and understood by our peers. And maybe a last point I would like to make is that
At least this time he said our peers, as opposed to other humans. I mean, that you're making me feel like you're a normal human being at this point in time. Your eyes look a little lizardy, but I mean, overall, you just strike me as a big brain scientist. Bro, I'm sorry, you're not a lizard. You're just a big brain scientist. So what I'm hearing, ladies and gentlemen, is that they have the technology, and this video was like a year and a half, almost 2 years old. So 2 years ago, they were admitting that they have the technology. They're doing the research. The problem is they're working out the kinks to the technology to figure out, how we can actually make it work fully. Now, I don't know if it's because this is what they're disclosing to us, so we can be warned about it. And those who pay attention, you can reject it. Those who don't pay attention, they can always say, well, we've been talking about it for 10 years. All of a sudden, you mad about it? We've been talking about it. So you have to take responsibility for it. I'm not sure. That's what it sounds like to me. But it also sounds like they're trying to work out the kinks in the system. But the only reason why you need to be able to read everybody's damn face and everybody's emotion is if you, as an elite group of people, want to control everybody and cut off their resources and cut off where they can move and where they can go, who they can see, who they can talk to. That's the only reason why you would ever do this. And that brings me back all the way up to the top of the rabbit hole. Before we jump down the rabbit hole, we were talking about lizard people. And the only people I can think that want to do this, they got to be damn lizard people or demons. Because quite frankly, I don't have time to care what the hell you running around and doing. You can talk to whoever the hell you want to talk to as far as I'm concerned. You can date whoever you want to date, love whoever the hell you want to love. That is your business. I'm busy with my life. Only a lizard person wants to control what everybody can do. I'm sorry. Something wrong with you if you want to control what the world can do.
Humans are not 100% perfect, right? Far from that. In fact, to understand other people's emotions, which means that computers will never going to get close to 100% either. So there could be a small degree of interpretability from a computer vision system on how you are, or what you're experiencing or what you're trying to communicate. But there's never going to be 100% certainty that that's exactly what you're experiencing. And this is very important because there are many companies right now already, they are claiming to be able to do that and apply this to places where I find really scary and dangerous.
He's definitely not a lizard. He about to dry snitch. He ain't no lizard. I owe you an apology, sir. You are not a lizard. You're a big brain scientist. You may actually have some morals, not ethics. You may have some morals. I want to hear what you're going to say next. You're a big brain scientist.
For example, in hiring people.
And, they might be wrong and they might be right, but they just have to be more.
What you mean? It get cut off in hiring people?
More or less right. There are store cameras that follow you around. So if you take all that information, not just the face, maybe we're focusing too much on the face, all the behavior.
Wait. Let me rewind. Let me think what this man said, because I'm missing something.
And how emotions are produced and understood by our peers. And maybe a last point I would like to make is that humans are not 100% perfect, right? Far from that. In fact, to understand other people's emotions, which means that computers will never going to get close to 100% either. So there could be a small degree of interpretability from a computer vision system on how you are, or what you're experiencing or what you're trying to communicate, but there's never going to be 100% certainty that that's exactly what you're experiencing. And this is very important because there are many companies right now already, they are claiming to be able to do that and apply this to places where I find really scary and dangerous. For example, in hiring people.
And, they might be.
There are many companies that are trying to apply this right now and doing it in places that he considers dangerous, like hiring. Hiring. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to run the hiring process. I mean, the only place, last time I went and applied for a job, I mean, they called you in for a face-to-face interview. Oh. Whoa. Okay, so, whoa, that's wild. Okay, so the video conferencing interviews, I had a cousin that just got a real high-paying job. I'm talking about super-duper high-paying job on an international level. And he went through this series of video interviews. And I was like, bro, it's kind of weird that these people want to interview you on video for this high-level job. Wouldn't they want to like shake your hand and talk to you? You know what I'm saying? Be like, what's up, homie? Like smell you. You know what I'm saying? Smell your cologne. But they had this man do all these interviews on video. That's what this man talking about. So they're using this facial recognition technology, trying to read your face and read your intentions while they interviewing you. That's messed up. So I'm sitting here talking to y'all, and y'all running facial recognition stuff to read my face to see what I'm saying. That's wild. That's wild. So if they can do that, Mama YouTube probably doing that too. Mama YouTube, I'm gonna tell you something, Mama YouTube. I'm gonna need you to get it together. I need you to stop what you're doing and get your mind right. Y'all play too much. Because these people can do it. I know you doing it. You need to get it together, Mama YouTube.
Wrong, and they might be right, but they just have to be more or less right. There are store cameras that follow you around. So if you take all that information, not just the face, maybe we're focusing too much on the face, all the behavior, is it going to be commercially viable? I mean, obviously some company will try to sell it, but will they make money?
That's already being used. So if you're talking about the population, right, as a global entity, and you consider whether you can do better than chance, then the answer is absolutely yes, right? But that's a very low bar, right? That doesn't mean that, yeah, exactly. If you're a company, that's all you care about. But does this mean that for a specific individual in a specific context or situation, that behavior means X? Then the answer is no, right?
I would just also say it matters. A couple of things matter, I think, right? One is how much of the context are you measuring? So you can measure someone's face and you can measure their vocal acoustics, you can measure their body postures, but are you measuring them over time? There is a temporal context which is relevant there. Are you measuring their internal context? Each one of us carries around an internal context to our brains all the time. It's called your body. And the state of your body matters to what your face is doing, as does the external context, right? But
I can definitely say that woman right there ain't no lizard. Now, the one in the middle, I think that's a lizard. The one on the far right, I think I'm not sure. But that one in the middle is a lizard. He's a lizard overlord for this group. That woman right there, based on what I'm hearing her say, she ain't no lizard. I mean, she's relating it directly to her personal experiences, talking about the context of the individual, and she's 100% right. And it's more so when you talk about your body, it's really more your emotions. But I get what she's saying. Like you don't know what kind of damn morning I had when you look at my face. I could have woke up snotting and sneezing with pain in my knees and my ankle. You're gonna search my body to find my pain to determine why my face is doing like this. You think I'm mad, but I'm in pain. You think I'm about to steal because my eyes is bug wide open like this, looking around. But hell, my sinus is acting up. If I close my eyes, I get snot in my eyes. This is dangerous, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to understand what these lizard people are doing is dangerous. It's very, very dangerous. The movie I was talking about was Minority Report. I want to thank everybody in the comments because you guys are fantastically brilliant. It's dangerous. We're heading towards Minority Report. And they're going to be wrong. The movie was like the perfect conceptualized version of what these people are building. But these lizard people get things wrong. They clearly get them wrong. They're screwing up all over the place, stumbling their way to destruction because they ain't supposed to be walking on their back legs. That's what they're doing. Supposed to be crawling on your belly, lizard people, slithering on your belly like it was cursed to do. But hey,
I think I just want to make the point that using technology to predict who's going to purchase something is a really different use than using the technology to determine people's outcomes, like in a legal setting, in an educational setting.
Speaking of purchasing something, IamDogwaters.com. It's my website. You get all my fantastical stories, true stories vetted by me. www.IamDogwaters.com. Use the code AmazonOG to get 50% off the membership. www.IamDogwaters.com. Amazon OG.
In a security setting, in an employment setting. And so I think it's really important. I mean, I know that's not what you were asking, but I'm just taking the opportunity to say, I think we have to take seriously the context in which this AI is being used, actually.
Okay, that's it. And I agree with Shelley. I think we need to take seriously the context under which the lizard people are trying to build out this AI, and we need to reject it. I wonder that DMX, the rapper, before he got murdered, well, before he died, he didn't get murdered. He had a heart attack and died. But DMX used to wear this paparazzi shawl. I got a shawl in here, but it's not a paparazzi shawl. He used to wear it on his head all the time. And a paparazzi shawl meant when the paparazzis took pictures, it blacked out his face and his image. And people's like, why he always got that thing on his head? Because it's a paparazzi shawl. You can take as many pictures as you want, but it never showed up. We as human beings are going to start creating technology that that'll protect us from this. I'm pretty sure it's out there. I haven't looked, but I'm definitely about to invest in it now. Now that I understand what's going on, I'm about to give me some kind of hat that when the camera reads the hat, it picks up on everything but my face, because this is ridiculous. I mean, it's totally and utterly ridiculous. I mean, it really, really is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be right back with another video on lizard people. I need to load up the next one, and we're going to keep going down the rabbit hole of the lizard people. I want to talk about the direct energy weapons that they've been building out. That's where I'm going next, but I'm not sure. I might be back with something different. I ain't sure. All I know is these people have lost their damn mind, and it's clearly, whether you want to call them lizard people, whether you want to call them demons, whether you want to call them elites, there's some nefarious stuff going on. I mean, it's clearly nefarious. I don't know what else to tell you. It's clearly nefarious.